Good evening and welcome to the final round of this Logistical Nightmare season. We are at Imola for tonight's event. Now we've been a multi-class, which basically means a mixture of GT3s and GT4s. So at the moment we've got GT3s out on circuit as far as I know. So we've got those in the first part of this qualifying session. Now those in the GT3 class, we've got Dave, Pace, Zombidom, Gary, Dog, Clate, NTZ, Levo and Checo. And to my knowledge, we've just had all of those, including Sky in the GT4 class, going out and completed their hot laps. So we should be set for an interesting race. It'll be a 65 lap event. So plenty of time for these drivers to get up to speed. So at the moment, Skyte is fastest out of all drivers. We appear to only have the 12 involved this evening overall, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. So with NTZ as in one of the GT3s coming through. And there's also a championship to be decided in all classes, as Jazz looks to clinch the championship, but it's highly doubtful he'll be clinching it because he's not around this evening. Although he is, yeah, he is actually. So he's currently 5th overall. I'm just interested to see how the others get on, and then we'll run through the picture as to who needs what in order to win the championship. NTZ coming into Ravazza. And this should be him over the line to complete a lap time. And he goes to the top by some margin. And then Dom displacing him in the Bentley. And Pace up to P2 as well. Aiming for a good end to the campaign. NTZ third fastest at the moment. You can see all the other drivers just making their way back to the pit lane now. They've all done their fast laps. So Dom will be on pole position for the race with Pace alongside its NTZ and Dave on the second row ahead of Lebo and Gary. And then we've got all those in GT4. Skyte ahead of Messi, Tay ahead of Popcorn, and Jazz ahead of Fireblade. I don't know if Dom is continuing to make his way round. So there's Pace, who's going faster than he did so before throughout this one, so he could end up on pole. He could snatch pole position away from Dom with this attempt. Lebo is still going as well. And over the line goes Pace, and he is on pole position for the round here at Imola, with Dom alongside, so that's just a late change. So we look to see how Lebo gets on. Don't know if he has carried on with the lap. No, he hasn't. So we should go to the grid. They are all there. Look, all 12 drivers waiting to go. 1 hour and 5 minutes. We'll have a formation lap first, and then this race will begin via a rolling start. If you have joined us, we do welcome you. Do make sure you get involved in the live chat. So we're 2 minutes away from the start of the formation lap. So we'll run through the championship standings. So Jazz is ahead on 211 points, Tay second on 204, and then Popcorn in third on 187, Dave in fourth on 179, Skype fifth in on 165. So for Jazz to win the championship, he would ideally need to finish ahead of Tay. That's going to be as difficult as it could end up being. We've got Dave, who's also in the run there in fourth on 179. 32 off the lead. There's 60 points on offer for the race winner. Now, last week we had 2 races, and I think how it decides is half the points of what you would normally get in a longer race distance if it was just a single event.
30 seconds.
Jazz picked up 33 points from the 2 races of last week. Tay collected 51, which just helped.
20 seconds.
Just helped him close to within 7 points of Jazz. If he can finish ahead of him in this race, then he will be crowned champion of the ACC Individual Championship within the Logistical Nightmare Racing. So the cars go off on their formation lap. 12 in the running. So we've got an old Bentley front row, and it's 2 Aston Martins, followed by a Mercedes and then an Aston Martin. Skyte in the McLaren 7th, had a Messi in the Mercedes AMG, and they've got another Aston Martin, followed by a Chevrolet, an Aston Martin and a Chevrolet. So quite a number of Aston Martins in the running, 5 in total. So we're expecting the weather conditions to remain dry throughout. So who will be crowned champion today? Now they all have to take a mandatory pit stop in this race. There's no mandatory rule as to whether it's tyres or fuel, but you do have to make a mandatory pit stop at some point in the race. It's a long one as well, 1 hour and 5 minutes. So there's pace. The field comes towards the Variante outer chicane. So the field are heading towards Rivazza, and then sooner rather than later they'll be formed in rows of 2 for the finish line to signal the start of this race. Now the top 6 are in GT3s, the bottom 6 of the grid are in GT4s. We're ready to go then. The field form up. So how will Pace get on here? Can he maintain his advantage into the Tamburello chicane? We are underway right. And we are on the way then, and Pace caught a little bit napping at the moment as Dom gets through ahead of him before they get to Tamburello. So Dom able to react faster to the lights than Pace, but Pace has got the inside line for Tamburello, so he maintains his lead so far. Coming out of Tamburello, we've got Dom in P2, and then NTZ is next behind. No incidents so far. Dave in 4th position, there Lebo and Gary. And then we've got Skites. We've got, oh, there's a collision further back involving what looks like Popcorn there in the Chevrolet and Jazz in the Aston Martin. That's a big one as well for the championship. So Jazz, who came into the race as the championship leader, has left himself with a whole load of work to do from where he is. There's a long way to go, but damage on the first lap is the last thing he wanted. So it's advantage Tay right now as he looks to close in the championship hunt. So there's Dave in 4th position. And he's going to go past NTZ here. Got a better exit coming out to the Variante Alta. And he's through before they get to Rivazza. Now the field are coming around to complete the first lap with Pace in the lead, Dom in 2nd place. We've got NTZ and Dave in there, Lebo and Gary in 5th and 6th. We'll ride on board with Gary here because comes towards Tamburello corner. Here we go, look. On the chicane. No drama so far. So Gary running in a fine 6th position. He'll be hoping to keep up with his momentum throughout. And then to the left-hander of Piratella. So he'll be hoping to complete some form of move on Lebo ahead with the number 75. Oh, and Lebo runs wide though at Akram and Arali. And so that hands... Well, he didn't look like he gained a position off track, so... Well, he didn't gain too much time off track, but he didn't lose too much either, so... That may be something for the stewards later. There is a penalty system though when it comes to track limits. If you exceed track limits too many times, you could end up with something like a 30-second time penalty or a drive-through penalty of some sort. And just looking to see if there's any other action going on behind. You can see Jazz closing back in on Popcorn. Tay is in 8th place. And with Dave in 3rd place. Now 3rd position. Could see you collect 42 points. With Tay in 8th position. That would net him 18 points. So Dave, with where he is right now, he would not quite win the championship. With Jazz down in at the back, he would just be behind Tay, I think. Well, Tay's in 8th place, I should say. So I think Dave would still miss out by 1 point in the championship with where he is right now. There's a long way to go yet in this one. As they come around to complete lap 3. Pace under threat from Dom. And Dom running in P2. This is the closest battle we've got out on track right now. So looking at Dom thinking about a move on pace. He's right up on his tail now, and he's hoping that the sister Bentley makes a mistake at some point. The field heading towards the Villeneuve chicane, well, the top two anyway. And he's had 4.5 seconds behind Dave. Dave just dropping back all the time between these two in your picture. So we're nearly 8 minutes into this race now. I think we are looking at around at the very minimum 34 laps. We're expecting those in the GT4s to be lapped either once or twice by those in the GT3s. So we go back to NTZ. See his rear view mirror. Lebo's 4.5 seconds behind him. I want to get a view of the leader with the rear wing, or from the onboard rear wing view. There's Pace with Dom right behind. We're on lap 6 of this race. So we're 10 minutes into this race now. Pace looking on form. No, Pace has already won earlier in the campaign. It was round 4 at Alton Park in that 50-minute sprint. So just looking in the GT4s, there is Skite ahead of those guys. And there's Tate. And the threat here from Messi. He's looking to keep up. So Skype saw Nondo's Gary at the back of all the GT3s. And we'll go back to the top 2 of this race. Coming towards Rivatsa. And a question mark as to when will either of them decide to pit in. And who's going to pit in first? And the leaders are going through turn 1, or not turn 1, turn 2 I should say. Tamburello corner. There are officially 19 corners on this circuit. It's not the widest of circuits, it's Imola. As Formula 1 found out when the race last year and this year. So Dom keeping the gap to under 7/10 after sector 1. And Dom thinking about a move or just moving around to distract Pace as much as he can. And now this could be an opportunity for him to get by here. He'll get into the slipstream. He may have a go into Tamburello corner. Probably won't do it from there, but let's see. And he waits behind. What about Messi? Is he closed in enough on Tay? Not at the moment, but he is right on his gearbox. Dave is 8.7 seconds behind Dom, 9 off the lead. And there's Pace running a bit wide there at Piratella. Have a look at the times as we speak. And GT3s, Pace ahead and Sky ahead. Oh, and that's Dom, who's just had a bit of a moment there on the exit. The Variante Alta. He's gathered it all up, but he's lost crucial ground to Pace. They'll be coming up to the traffic shortly as well, as they come around to complete the 9th lap, or their 9th lap. And so Pace coming round. That's Jazz getting the blue flags and moving out of the way. I think this is rather of a team event. I'm not sure if this has got anything to do with the championship. It is a bonus event after all. Although I could be wrong. It's 1.5 seconds between Pace and Dom. Dave in 3rd, NTZ in 4th. Lebo ahead of Gary. Skite is nearly 6 seconds in front of Tay, who's only just in front of Messi. Fireblade 15 seconds adrift of those guys, who of course is getting like Popcorn and Jazz running out those still running. So Pace and Dom have got by 3 of those GT4s. It won't be too long before Dave gets by those as well. So 10 laps gone now. Pace out in front right now. I'm looking on the top right hand corner on the weather radar. There's no rain expected anytime soon at the moment. Track temperature of 29 degrees centigrade and air temperature of 22 degrees. So there's Dave, just getting held up a little bit now by the back markers. It looks like Jazz has got in front of Popcorn now as well, so Jazz through into 11th position. So, pace lapping the Mercedes AMG of Messi. I'll surely be lapping Tay as well. Now, can Dom get by this McLaren, or Aston Martin, I should say, on the XF Minerali before they get to the Variante Alta? And the answer is yes. Dave over 15 seconds off the lead. So we're over 20 minutes in. And so far so good for pace, as he looks to continue his quest up front. Pace gets through. Dom is getting held up a little bit though by Sky. He's through now. And it looks like Messi's in front of Tay now as well. So Messi up to 8th place. Oh, Messi's up to 8th place. He must have done it at the Variante Alta. By the way, a good move from him. Just closing in all the time on Fireblade. Could we be seeing a manoeuvre here very, very shortly? We're a third of the way through this one. And pace still leads by just under 2 seconds. As we watch Jazz make a move. Still no way through at the moment. See how hard Jazz is pushing at the moment. And he complete a switchback on the exit of Tosa hairpin. He goes wide, does Jazz, and he loses a position. Thankfully, he makes no contact with Popcorn, but he has lost the position to him. So Popcorn's hard work of getting past Popcorn has come undone. As we watch these two continuing to dominate up front. Now the time at the moment over there is 1:35 p.m, so it's not quite the sort of sunset period. Pace's best lap of the race is a 1:43.2. So we watch him as he exits Tosa and up the hill. Running wide there at Pillar, so there is his pace. So, pace coming round. Is this going to be a new best lap of the race for him? It is now 1 minute 43.0. So it just shows the pace he's got at the moment. How is Dom getting on in the other Bentley? Not too bad at the moment. You can just see Dave as he crosses over the line now. He's over 20 seconds behind Dom, actually. Nearly 24 off the lead. As he said, gets through. And Fireblade under threat from Popcorn. Still no way through yet for the Chevrolet driver on the other Chevrolet. And so Popcorn behind Fireblade in the battle over 4th place in class. So they go through Piratella. And Popcorn to the outside into Acrominerali. He won't get through there, I don't think. But Fireblade made a mistake on the exit, and Popcorn didn't need a second invitation. He goes into 10th overall and 4th in class. And it looks like Jazz is getting through as well, albeit he was riding over the curves there. I'm just thinking, did he exceed track limits by passing him? I'm not too sure, but he's got through anyway. So nearly half an hour into the race, with pace still in the race lead. Brilliant performance from Pace so far. I wonder how much more we will be expecting from these two in the fight for the race victory. So NCZ in 4th place, going over the gravel there on the exit Tamburello. Dave running in P3. He must be wondering how to close in on these two. They still have to take a mandatory pit stop, do all the runners. None have come in for a pit stop at all yet. I don't know what their fuel loads are like at the moment. I'd be interested to find out. There's Pace coming out to lap Fireblade for the second time. Fireblade getting out of the way of the leaders. Now we're coming through. 19 laps down, and I would expect 19 more laps in this race. We're probably targeting 38 with the way this one's been going. And it looks like Dom is in the pits. So Dom in for his mandatory pit stop. Dave has already gone past him. NTZ will go past him as well. He should get out ahead of Lebo. So Dom, the first driver to come in for a tyre change or fuel pickup. He's leaving the box now. There's Lebo coming through. He goes past, as does Gary. So Dom rejoins at the back of all the drivers in the GT3 class, but all of them have still yet to come in for a pit stop. Pace coming out of Ravazza now. .30 in front of Dave. All the clear track ahead of him. And the clouds are gathering over the Imola racetrack, but there's no sign of rain at the moment. As much as those commenting in the live chat are demanding for it. So when will Pace decide to pit in for his mandatory stop? Will it be at the end of this lap? I think what he may do is just do another lap before he catches up to the traffic and then dock him. So Pace continuing on his way, and Dom has got past Gary for 5th place. Should go past Lebo very shortly. Dom to the inside, he thought about it, but Lebo just cuts him off at the last moment. So Pace through the Variante Alta. Now will he decide to pit in this lap? And he does not do it on this lap, so he carries on to complete lap 22. And the gap he has over Dave is quite humongous, it has to be said. Here's Dom to the inside of Lebo as they go through towards the hairpin. There was nearly contact, but thankfully none. Pace behind one of the GT4 cars as he goes past. So here's Dom, who's gone past Lebo now for 4th place on the road. And he's got a clear track ahead of him, so it's an opportunity for him to really close down on pace and see if he can complete an undercut that will decide the outcome of tonight's event. So nearly 40 minutes into it, we've got 25 still to go. Ooh, and Dom riding the curves there, and he has to go off track. So that's the last thing Dom needed there. He was caught out by the sausage curbs and has to go for a little bit of off-roading. And there's leader Pace, who's still not been in the pits yet. Pace behind what looks like, I think that may well be Sky, who's just staying out of the way, or trying to stay out of the way. There's Dom in P4. He's trying to find all the time that he can get. Let's do the VLO shake aim properly this time. So Popcorn in 10th place, Jazz 11th with Fireblade at the back. Just the one driver pitting in this race, that was Dom. He's testing some decent pace now. I doubt it'll be enough to take the lead though, but we'll see. So 2/3 of the way through. Pace. navigating his Bentley through Ravazza. And the wind speed seems to be picking up now. It was virtually 0 earlier on, and now it's gone up to 2 kilometres per hour northwest, or northeast I should say. Now it's heading towards the north, so I wonder if it's like a crosswind at Tamburello, which Pace will be having to cope a little bit with. So 20 minutes remaining, or just over 20 minutes. When the clock reaches 0, whatever lap the race leader is on, it will be their last lap. And Popcorn is the second driver to come in for a pit stop. He'll fall behind Fireblade, a long way behind. And he'll have the opportunity to repair some of the damage from that first lap collision he had with Jazz on the exit of the Villeneuve chicane. So Pace is carried on for another lap. And there's Dave in P2. And Dave almost looks like he was going to go in the pits there, but thought otherwise. And Pace is coming up towards Levo and Gary, who are in the same class as he is. He's about to put a lap on them. There's Dave in the Aston Martin coming up towards some GT4 cars. I wonder when we're going to be seeing the remainder of the field docking into the pits for their mandatory stops. They all have to do it, otherwise it will result in either a penalty or a disqualification. I'd imagine it'll be a disqualification, to be honest with you. What will Pace be thinking at this point? He won't want to leave it too late, because if he ends up getting overtaken by Dom, he's going to leave himself with too much to do with little time remaining in this race to get an overtake done for the race victory. And Lebo off the track there at Tambrillo. I think he just did it to get out of the way of the leader. Wouldn't normally see cars go off there like that. And looking at popcorn signs, as you can see Fireplay going off track there. Seems to be in a bit of a battle. Well, Jazz is further up the road, so it'll be one of the GT4s as we watch Pace continue on his way. Minutes remaining. So now on lap 30, Pace still ahead. Only two drivers have pitted in this race. They are Zombidom and Popcorn. R12 still running since the start of this race. It didn't look like Popcorn repaired the damage you can see there on the number 25. And Pace getting held up there by Jazz, who moves out of the way for him to get through. And this is going to make for an interesting race if Pace ends up being overtaken by Dom, or whether these two will just be as close as what they were before Dom pitted. And Pace still carries on. .47 seconds clear of Dave. Less than 13 minutes remaining. Going towards Piratella. Pace still holding on. Now Dom closing on NTZ, who's still yet to pit. Dom is on the fresher tyres after all, to my imagination. Now what about Pace? Is he coming into the pits at the end of the start? He is now. So Pace is in. So this is the important pit stop that could decide the outcome of this LNR race at Imola. Now I don't know if Dave will pit in at the end of this lap. Now Dom is only just coming towards Piratella, so time is on the essence for Pace. So he waits in his box to get the fuel and the tyres or whatever he decides to get put on before he's released. And he's out on his way already. So that's interesting. So he obviously went on a long first stint and he's going to get out of the pits by a long, long way ahead of Dom, who's only just going through Variante Alta now. And Dave goes through into the lead for the time being, but he is still yet to make a pit stop with just over 10 minutes to go. Now further down the order, Sky is still leading in the GT4 class. Only one driver from the GT4 class has been in the pits, and that's Popcorn. There's Dave in the race lead at the present moment. And Pace's advantage over Dom is just under 25 seconds. I suppose with the less amount of fuel needing to be put in there for Pace, it didn't have to wait in the box as long. And that's Skype going off track there. I think that was just to let one of the GT3s through. Skype is still yet to stop in this race. There is Gary running in 5th. Now when will those who haven't pitted in yet decide to pit in? Because there is a mandatory pit stop which these have still got to take. Then there's Pace right on the rear of Dave through Aqua Minerale. Pace not able to get a move done on Dave. Half a second is the gap. judging by the amount of time we've got left in this race, it could end up being a 37 lap event rather than 38, but we'll see. And pace goes right round the outside of Dave. Into Tosa. Oh, Dave lost it in the middle of there, and pace couldn't quite avoid him in time. There was a tiny bit of contact, but not too much. As the field go through, these two go through Piratella. And that's Fireblade just staying out of the way. Less than 6 minutes to go now. So Dave still hasn't pitted in this one. Will he decide to pit in at the end of the start? He runs wide on the exit of Rivatsa. He still doesn't go in. And now it looks like Pace is going to take the opportunity to get in front here. So right on board. Thinking about a move to the outside. Entering Sambrello. There he goes, look. Run out wide there. So these two. Oh, and Pace has caught the curb. He did exactly the same thing what Dom did earlier. It didn't go across the gravel on the left-hand side, but that won't have done the car too much good. Riding over the sausage curbs like that. Pace thinking about a move there. And now Pace into the slipstream of the Aston Martin. As they both head through. That's Jazz, I believe, just staying out of the way. Now, is Dave pitting in this lap to take his mandatory pit stop? He must do that in this race. He doesn't do it, so if he's staying out there, that must mean he'll be pitting at the end of the next lap. I don't think there is actually going to be any pit stops in this race, actually. I initially thought there was going to be, but it doesn't look as though there will be. So I think it is going to be a mad dash to the end, so I did take my word back. So can Dave hold on for the victory here? Ahead of Pace. This is the penultimate lap of the race, I believe now, so the next time these two cross over the line will be the last lap. As Pace looks to get a move on Dave. To the inside into Acca Minerali. There was a touch between those two cars, but Dave lives on to fight another day. I suppose got to be careful not to exceed track limits. So this is the last lap of the race now. Dave on course for victory. I'm just looking at the times at the moment. Oh, it's going to be very tight, actually, in terms of whether this is going to be the last lap or not. I think it's the last lap, but we'll see. Pace has got to hope it's not, because that way he's got more time to actually get the move done on Dave. Thinks about a move to the outside. But Dave holds him off on that occasion. Now into Piratella. Pace on the outside there. Dave needs to go defensive. Contact made. Pace goes off track. Dave holds on for now, but Pace will be back for more. Now Pace getting good drive coming out of Acro Minerale. Will he go for it into Variante Alta? Still not able to find a way through. And now he's got the inside here, look. And I think this is going to be a change of position now. But he's on the grass, though, his Pace. He's on the inside, though, into Rivazza. Does he go for it? Not through there. Dave goes off, though. Dave off into the gravel at Rivazza. And that hands the lead to Pace. He's going to come round and take victory here at Imola. Would you believe it? So Pace, right at the death, wins here at Imola by 1 second, or just under 1 second. Dave with that poor error, so Pace's persistence had paid off in the end. Dave came through to finish second, and it's going to be Somidom in third place. And then it'll be NTZ in fourth, ahead of Gary and Lebo. Skite is going to finish ahead in the GT4 class. So there's NTZ in fourth position. And there is Gary in fifth and Lebo sixth. But here's Sky, 9.5 seconds clear of Messi. He's going to come through convincingly to finish 7th overall and 1st in class. And Messi, as Gary goes to ahead of him on track. So Messi second in GT4, Taze third in GT4, then you've got Jazz, Fireblade and Popcorn. Will be the last of those to cross over the line. There's Lebo, who I believe is out of fuel actually, as he tours in. And yes, he is out of fuel. I don't know if he's going to get to the line, but he will keep hold of 6th anyway. So at the end of that, Pace wins by 1 second over Dave. Dom and NTZ are 3rd and 4th. Gary 5th and Lebo in 6th. Skite finishing ahead of all the drivers in the GT4 class. And look at this. It looks like Pace is just giving Lebo a bit of a nudge here to make sure he gets over the line. And do you know what? That's rather sporting of him to do that. So whilst we watch that, Sky finishes ahead of all of those in GT4. Messi 8th, or Messi 2nd I should say, 3rd, Jazz 4th, Fireblade 5th and Popcorn 6th. Now we'll just stay with this last bit of action. This is probably the best action we've seen all race, to be quite honest with you. I just hope Pace has got enough fuel in there to nudge the Mercedes AMG over the line. There we go, look. The race is done. And Pace is your winner in the Bentley. And decides to perform a few donuts as well to go with it. And who can blame him? It has been an enduring race here at Imola, located in the region of Emilia-Romagna, in the country of Italy. Well, that brings the coverage to an end. Thank you to everyone that's been tuning in. Make sure you do like and subscribe. We aim to get to 200 subscribers in the LNR YouTube accounts. Congratulations to Pace on that race victory right at the death. He thoroughly deserved it as well. So who can complain? All that remains for me to say is thank you very much for tuning in, and we look forward again next season to see some more LNR action. I'm Tom Cairns, and I'll speak to you again soon when the LNR returns.